Hello everyone. Today I will I will read book Think and Grow Rich chapter 9. The chapter 9 is talking about resistance, the sustained effort necessary to endurance faith. Resistance was resistance is an essential factor in the producing to transmutation design into monetary equivalent. The basics of persistence is power of willpower and desire. When properly combined, makes an resistable power. Men who accumulate great fortunes are generally, as cold-blooded and sometimes ruthless. Often they, often they are misunderstood that they have this willpower which they mix with persistence and place back of their desires to ensure that attainment of the objectives. Henry Ford was being generally misunderstood to be ruthless and cold-blooded. This misconception grew out of Ford's habit of following through in always plans with persistence. The majority of people are ready to throw their ends and purpose overboard and give up that first signal of opposition on misfortune. A few carry and singing opposition and a few carry and speed opposition until they attain their goal. These few are the Fords, Carnegies, Rockefeller, and Edsons. There may be heroic con- connotation to the word persistence, but the quality is the character of man that carbon distill. The building of the fortune generally involves the application of entire 13th factor of this. This philosophy, these principles must be understood. They must apply it with resistance be all who accumulate money. If you are following his book with intention of applying knowledge, this conveys of your first test that your resistance will come and begin follow the 6 steps described in the second chapter. Unless you wanted to out over out of very hundred who already you have defined goal that wish wish you among and the defined plan for its attainment you may read introductions they pass with the daily routine and every complete with the truth introductions. The author is rushing is checking you up this point because lack of resistance is on the major causes for failure. Moreover, the experience we felt thousands of peoples which provide of the lack of persistence and the weakness. The common majority of man, the weakness which they may be overcome in front. The as with which lack resistance may be conquered will dependent upon the density of desire. The start point of our achievement is desire, keeping constantly in mind weak desires bring weak results. Just a small amount of the fight makes a small amount of hurt. If you find yourself lacking in persistence, this weakness may be remind be building a stronger fight under of your desires. Continuing to reason throughout of the ending then the back chapter 2 and starts immediately to carry out an introduction given the connection with the six steps. The eagerness with the which you follow this introduction will indicate clearly how much or how little you really desire to accumulate money. If you that you are different, you may be sure that you have not acquired the money constituents. With you must possess before you can be sure of accumulating a fortune. Fortune is gratitude to men whose minds haven't been prepared to attract it. When just as surread uh, as waiter gravities to ocean. Jesus really in this book it may befold the similar necessary to attune in a normal mind to vibration with will attract the object one desires. If you find you are weak in resistance, and center your attention upon the introduction contained in the chapter on power. Surround yourself with mastermind grew up throughout the cooperative efforts and the members of this group. You can develop a resistance. You will find the dictional introduction of autosuggestions. And your subconscious mind, you follow the introduction outlined. You this chapter and you absolutely hands over subconscious finds and clear picture the objection for your desire. From that point on, you will be handicapped by lack of persistence. Your subconscious mind works continuously while you are awake and while you are asleep. Spasmodic and occasional effort apply. The rules will be no value to you. To get results, you must apply the all rules into application becomes a fixed habit with you. In a other way, you can develop to necessary money consciousness. Poverty, poverty is the attraction to the one whose mind is favorable to it. Is money attractive to when Fro's mind has been developed prepared to attract it, and the fraud is the same lace. Poverty continuous will voluntarily seizes the mind with which is not complete with the money consciousness. A poverty consciousness develops without conscious application of the habits favorable to it. The money consciousness they must be created to order, unless one the born with the suck of the consciousness. Catch the full signification of the statements, the process paragraph, and you will understand the importance of resistance and the accumulation of the fortune. Without resistance, you will be defined ever even before you start. With resistance, you will win. If you have ever experienced and nightmare, you will realize the value of resistance. You are lightning in the bed, half awake, with a feeling that you are about to smother. You are unable to turn over, to move a muscle. You realize you must begin to regain control in your muscles, and the first resistance for the power you find and manage to move in fitness and your hand be continues moving your fingers. You must extend your control the muscles of one arm without you can lift it. When you again the control of the other arm, you disseminate you finally again the control of the over the muscles of the leg. When the extent of the outer leg, when with one supreme forward will, you will regain the complete control over your muscular system and the snap, and you fall night in the merry they strike, and it was being turned step two by step. You may find necessary to snap and your mental inertia and through the similar process. Moving is slowly and forcing increasing your speed until you gain complete control over your will. Be, be resistance no matter how slowly to may and that first having to move. With resistance will come success. If you select your mastermind, the group with care, you will have at last one person who will aid you in the development of resistance. The some men who have accumulated the great fortunes they do because of necessity and they development to habit of resistance because they were so closely driven by the resistance that you they had to become resistance. There's on the subjective of resistance. It cannot be supplanted the be another quality. Remember this, and will hearten you in the beginning when in the going it may sound difficult and slow. Froze whole and the cultivate the ability of resistance and enjoy insurance again and failure. No matter how many times they are defined, they finally arrive toward and to up the later sometimes and the prize and the gift hidden guide. World duty in the test and the man fraught all short and the describing the experience. Froze whole peak and yourself whole after death and the keeping on trying rive. And the word cries, Bravo, I knew in your cool deed. When you hide in guild in Latin, do unenjoyed great achievement without pass and the persistence test. Throws who can't make an disciple and do not make great. Throws who can and take it, both fault render a resistance. They receive this the compensation wherever you go. They are pursuing that know well. They receive and sometimes the filing and the more important than material completion. That acknowledge that every failure brings with the seed of one equivalent advantage. They are the expectation of this rule. A few people you know for experience the soundless of resistance. They are the ones on having accepted death and the begging anything the more that's temporary they see the ones on desires to persistently and apply it. That the death dead is the definite change in your victory. We who stand in the sidelines of life's overwhelming legend the number go you don't felt, never to rise again. We see in the few who take the punishment of death defied this the urge to greater effort. Thus unfortunately never learn to accept life's receives gear. But that too do not to see that you must often never suspect you of the exist the silent of the irresponsible power with which the comes the rescue the throes of fighting and this face off discreditment of the speak of this power of all we and call persistence and the let go the one thing we all you know of the doers of the posts and the resistance in the goals and not achievement and not only and the success in calling as these lines this begging writing I look up from the work and the sea and the before last and that block way. The great and mysterious the Broadway and the grave word and the death hopes and the fraud opportunity the from over world peoples have come. To bro to Broadway seeking fame, power, fortune, love, and whatever this human begs and cow success. One win great and wild and some steps before from the long process weakers. That the word hears the another person of the Macy Broadway, and the Broadway is the easily in the north quickly conquered. She acknowledges talent, recognizing genius, pay unlawful money, and one after one refuses to quit. Then we, it was discovered the secrets who conquered the Broadway. The secrets away, inseparable beyond attack me, and the word resistance. The secret told the student the fame and the wars whose resistance conquered the great wild way. The Shikam, the New York in 1916 to convert to writing the riches. And the conversation did come the quick and the button cam and the 45th and the Miss Hungers landed about the sides of the New York. And from first-hand experience, she spent here and the days laboring and the here night hoping when and the hoping Jean did and not say, all right, Broadway, oh you know when. She said, very well, Broadway, and you whip and the psalm and the boot not me. I am going to force you to give up. One published the Saturday Evening Post, the site where the 36 rejected tips and before they broke the ice, and the strolls across the avenged the ride like the avenged the walks and the heaven. Giving the open, the fourth projection sleeping came, and she opportunity pavement of your fear of your years and to turn in the published no because it was detected meant to win. Then came and the payoff to a spell of being broken into get the test in the fun worst. Caramba, 20 minutos já, mano. And she would take the from that time and the published made being and paid the door the money can the fast already hadn't time to call Devon, the moving the picture man, and the discovered hand and money can and not smell change, but the floats to moving the picture are right to latest novel, The Great Flowers and the Broken 100 million hundred said B. Oh, I don't know, say the number. Uh, 100 billions of dollars, and said B high test price and the patent before the publication her rolloutness and the first stay, and the book probably will run and much more. Briefly, you have described and the resistance endurance capability and the achievement, and defining her to inception, whatever man and the woman accumulating the great riches. You may be sure the force is quiet in resistance. Broadway will give an unbegging cup of coffee and the sandwich you demand precedence in the froze and the who go after the big stakes. Kate Smith will say Amen. Amen. When the shaving reads for years and she sang without money and without pricing before the microscope she could rush and the Broadway and she and come get you can take it. She did it. One happened in the Broadway titled and the shipping name and the price and the work in airless and the Miss Mitch and the name and her price. And independently way up the figure of hiding that weeks. The salary more for most people's makings whole year. Vary with pays resistance and they were encouraged testament with and the suggestion great signification thousand and singers who excel and the kids Mitch are walking up to the Broadway looking for the break and without success. Countless authors haven't the gone many of them sang you know, but they failed to make the grade because and lacking the courage to keeping and YouTube Broadway become tired in the turning away. The resistance in the state of mind therefore can be cultivated like in the stand of mind resistance based in therefore defining the occasion among these. The final is your propose. Keep knowing that one once you first and experience in the most important steps toward development of resistance, a strong motivation forces and a strong moat and many difficulties. Number two, desire. If you compa- comparatively and is acquired to maintain resistance in pursuit of objective of intense desire, self-reliance and the breadth and the ability and to carry out to plan encouraging the one follow play and the fraud with persistence. Define your plans. Organize your plans and even fraud they may be weak and the present practical encouraging resistance. Accurate knowledge. Knowledge is the plans of sounding because an experience the observation encourage resistance, guessing and the knowledge destroying resistance. Cooperation, sympathy, and understanding the harmonious cooperation with the author that extend develop resistance. Willpower, the ability of concentration and the one's throws upon building of the plans of the attainment of the defined proposed lead experience. Ability, ability. The resistance and direct result the ability. The mind absorbs and becomes a part of the daily experience upon is felt, and the fear walls and enemies and can affront currently be forcing repetition in the action encourage. Everyone who was seen actively serves in war knows this. Before leaving the subject of persistence and take inventory yourself and determine your what in particular you and lacking in your essential quality and measure yourself courage. Point be point, and you see how in hating factor in the resistance you lack. The analysis may and the lead discoveries you will give us a new grip on yourself. Symptoms of the lack of resistance and of persistence, where you will find and the real enemies on which stand between and the not worthy achievement. Here you'll find the not anticipation and the weakness persistence but to deepen and the subsequent case and the weakness. Stood the listen the careful facing and the square and really wish you will are and that you are capability of you going. There's their weakness and wish there must be MasterCard be and the accumulated wish. Number one, failure. Recognize and clearly define exactly that the one wants. Two, procrastination. With your without case. Number three, lack of interest acquiring spacing knowledge. Number four, intention the habit passing the book on all occasions starting the facing of squarely. 6. The habit of reckoning upon alibis and the stand of creating defining plans and for solution for problems. 6. Self sensation. There's the little remedy for this affiliation, the one hoping for those who suffer from it. 7. The difference usually reflects the one red lines to compromise in all occasion rather than meet opposition of the fight it. 8. The ability of blaming others for others' mistakes, the accepting unavoidable in the circumstance of being unavoidable. 9. Weakness of desire. Do we neglect in the choice and the movements that impel action? 10. Willing willingness. Ever eagerness to quick the first thing defined the base of the one more the six basic fear. 11. A lack of organizing your plans. Replace it in writing in this day and maybe analyze it. 12. The ability of negligence to move in ideas and the gaps opportunities and the president himself. 23. 22 no, 13. Wishing stand the willing. 14. The ability compromising the poverty intact among riches and the general abstinence, the ambition to be you one. 16. In the searching of thou short kills and rich and to get without giving fire equivalent usually reflects the ability and the gambling in their roaring and the driver sharpens begins. 6 5 6 6 right. Fear fear of Christianism. The failure of creating plans in your plan action because you and other people's you think and say an enemy belongs and you have to be the list because generally exists subconscious mind this persistence and recognize. Oh, this one, and stopped the part one about the chapter chapter 8. 8, 9. All right. All right. Let's go. I'm finished the first part about resistance. All right. Thank you for listening the audiobook. Mano, ficou maçante isso aqui, hein, velho. Pesado.